What's up, guys and gals? It is time for another monthly portfolio update. I do apologize there hasn't been a video for a few weeks. The reason for that, I was simply busy and I was also sick. I had a sore throat, which is not really conducive to creating YouTube videos, so hopefully I will be back on track with that. But let's jump into the monthly portfolio update. Now, I do want to start this off by saying this was the best September that the markets have had for the last 15 years. So yes, the gains that I acquired throughout the last month were good. Some of that was due to trading. Some of that was due to the market as a whole. So the gains for this month are probably going to be a little bit higher than normal just because of the month that we've had. So jumping into the tax-free savings account, because we always start with that, looks like here I had a return of $8,278.47. So once again, nothing has changed with that account. It's completely invested in XEQT, just reinvesting the dividends there, nothing else going on. So a good return overall. I'm happy with it, no problems. Let's move over to the RSP. So the RSP, I had a return of $4,708.45. Now, I did switch over some things in this account. Mainly, I moved some money into more bonds. So the reason for that is simply for what I just said. The market has had a tremendous year, really, but obviously a tremendous month as well. And at these levels, it is a little bit high, in my opinion. So I am moving a little bit of money from equities into bonds at this point. I did do that in this account. The other reason being is not only is the market high, but we've seen that interest rates have come down a little bit. Now, I mentioned that as well, and I have been mentioning that over the last couple of months that they were going to drop interest rates. So, with that being said, I think there's more interest rate drops that are coming down the pipeline. And I think it's just a wise move to move a little bit of money into bonds at this point in time. I know bonds are not for everyone. I do understand, of course, that equities over the long term, they tend to do better than bonds. However, if you can time it right, now that's a whole other conversation, timing the market, but if you can time it right, definitely swinging back and forth a little bit of your equity portion into bonds and then from bonds back into equities, you can shave off a few percentage points there and keep those when equities do fall. So I just think that's a good idea for myself right now to take some money from equities and place that into bonds. Now, I'm not doing that heavily. I am doing it with a few percentage points of my portfolio. So no, I'm not moving, 20, 30%, anything like that. But I have moved over about 5% of my equity portion into bonds. I know that's a small amount, but it will create more stability. And as I said, at this point, I think it's a good time to do that. So that's all I've done in the RSP is just make that transition. I moved some equities into bonds. Otherwise, I've left the account as it is. No changes. Haven't sold anything or bought anything new. It's just I moved some from equities to bonds. So let's jump over to the non-registered. Now, non-registered, I had a return of $6,440.18. So this account sort of between the RSP return and the tax-free savings return in terms of dollar figures. However, it is my highest return as a percentage. So this is where I do all my trading, as you guys who have been watching me know. This past month was a bit different for me. So I did not do any crypto trades this month. The reason being is I just didn't see any opportunity. So Bitcoin itself was kind of in a weird space. That's usually the only crypto that I follow. And I couldn't decide for myself if the price was high or if the price was low. I also couldn't see any trading action that really gave me any direction on what was going on. To be honest with you, and I'm perfectly fine saying this, I know some traders or some people on YouTube or forums or whatever, they don't like to admit when they're wrong. They don't like to admit when they don't know what's going on. And I'll say it, I had no idea what to do with Bitcoin or crypto this month. So I did the wise thing. I just didn't do anything. So no crypto trades. Sneak peek at next month, there will be some crypto trades because Bitcoin's looking like a good time right now to either buy some puts or make some shorts. So I probably will start shorting it next week, depending on how Monday, Tuesday goes. But that is on my radar. So what did I do then in this account for the last month? Well, I did my SPY trades, so my SPY options, but I switched it up a little bit. So normally I sell in the money calls, but I didn't do that this month. This month I was selling at the money calls. So I was essentially buying SPY and I was selling a call at the exact price more or less that I bought SPY for. What I did in addition to that though is I was buying puts. Now I'm not a big believer in buying options. I usually do not ever buy options. So if I do, it's a rare occurrence. I'm mostly a seller and I'm not a buyer. The reason for that is when you buy an option, there's a lot of things working against you. When you sell an option, you've got a lot more things working for you. Now, the difference between those two things being is that when you sell an option, it generally requires a lot more capital and a lot more money up front. But if you buy an option, it costs you a lot less money to do so. So the pro for selling is, yes, more things are working in your favor, but the con for selling an option is that it costs you more money up front. And the reverse is true for buying options. When you buy options, there's a few more things that are a disadvantage for you or working against you, but the pro there, or the benefit to you, is that it costs you a lot less money. It's a fraction of the amount of money that you have to put up front. So I was simultaneously selling at the money calls on the S&P 500, and I was buying puts on the S&P 500 as well. So essentially, I was kind of playing both sides. I had a long position, but I also had a short position. And what I was doing there is I was essentially still trying to capitalize on the bullish momentum of the market overall, but I also wanted to capitalize on any sort of drops that would happen along the way. And that's what I did. So for the majority of it, I would say it worked out well. Every single call that I sold, I made money on. So I didn't lose any money on any of the calls. As for the puts, I believe I bought around 8 contracts in total at different times. And I only sold one of those contracts for a small loss that obviously did not outweigh the gains on the other contracts. So when you play both sides, it is a little bit difficult to win all the time, right? Generally, the market will move in one direction. So if you're playing both sides and the market stays flat, then yes, it is easy to win on both sides. So I won on a portion of those. Very happy with my gains in the non-registered. But aside from those options on the S&P 500, I didn't do much in this account. So I did not trade anything else. I did not buy anything else other than XEQT. And I also did not switch any of the other investments around. So the majority of these gains simply came from trading the S&P 500 with options. Let's move over to crypto. So for crypto, we actually had a gain this month, which is no surprise considering I'm thinking about shorting it in October. So it looks like our gain was $584.79. Nothing to write home about. Bitcoin basically performed over the last month more or less kind of like the market did. So, you know, it's not really surprising, but I don't have much to say. I mean, as I said, I think that Bitcoin's kind of in this space right now where it's stuck, right? It's stuck between gold going up, stocks going up, the devaluation of the US dollar. There's inflation, but then also we're reducing interest rates and we've got higher unemployment. So Bitcoin's kind of in this weird space right now where I don't think it really knows what to do. I don't think that investors know what to do. And I already admitted that I don't know what to do. So if you think of Bitcoin as the digital gold, which, quite a few people do, well, gold's doing better than Bitcoin over the last little while. So that doesn't really make a bullish case for Bitcoin. It kind of is re-solidifying where gold stands as an asset. So that's not really bullish for Bitcoin. The fact that inflation has kind of tamed out, that is also not necessarily a bullish reason for Bitcoin. But the devaluation of the US dollar and other countries, or the BRICS trying to move away from the US dollar, that is a bullish case for Bitcoin. So I think we're sort of in a space where people don't know what to do with Bitcoin or crypto as a whole. And I think it's going to take some time for that to iron out. I would say I'm probably leaning a little bit more to the bearish side of that. I think that if the stock market does tend to break down, and if gold starts to break down as well, which I do think is going to happen, I think Bitcoin's going to follow that trend downward. So that's what I'm banking on. But we'll see what happens over the coming weeks. And when I do my update in a month from now, I'll definitely keep you guys posted on what sort of trades that I make there. Now, overall, as I said, it was a good month. How I feel going forward is cautiously optimistic. So, as I said, I think we're going to get another rate decrease in the next couple of months here. I do think the market's going to stay semi-solid, going into Thanksgiving, going into Christmas and the holidays. I'm a little more concerned about the new year, how things are going to fare in 2026. I think that we're going to just chug along for the next couple months. I don't think anyone wants to see a breakdown before the holidays. And I don't think there's any reason to break down. I still think that we've got, good profits coming out. There's not been too many issues with inflation rising. Yes, as I touched on, there's the jobs issue, but I mean, the jobs are not really a problem if companies are making money. The flip side to that is, there's probably going to be more jobs popping up because of the holiday season. So, I can't see a breakdown happening over these next couple of months. I also don't see us continuing to go up at the pace that we were going either. So I'm probably going to continue to buy puts from this point forward as well, just to kind of hedge my bets here, because I do think that the market is high, and I think any sort of bad news is going to impact the market in a big way. And I think that any sort of good news is not going to have a profound effect. So essentially, I'm cautiously optimistic going forward. As I said, I think we're going to just kind of stay the course, but I am going to be keeping those hedges, those puts, those shorts in my back pocket and at the forefront of what I'm doing. So I am going to be trading more cautiously as well. I'm probably not going to be using as much leverage because I don't want to get trapped. I don't want to be, buying the market at all-time highs, borrowing hundreds of thousands of dollars. That doesn't sound like a good time. So I'm probably not going to do that. I will continue to use leverage, but at a fraction of what I was doing before. I expect that my returns over the next couple of months will be lower. So don't expect any more of these types of gains. Going into the overall gain now for the last month, as I'm sure you saw in the thumbnail, overall gain for the last month was $20,076.83. So I do not expect any more $20,000 months. I would actually probably be pretty surprised if I was able to pull off another $10,000 a month in 2025. I don't think that's going to happen. $5,000 a month? Sure, no problem. I think that's easily doable. That would not surprise me. But to be pulling off, 10,000 or more, just can't see that for 2025. With that being said, I think that's about all I have to say for this portfolio update. Once again, I do apologize about not having a video over the last couple of weeks. I am feeling better now. I have gotten some rest. I've gotten some antibiotics. I think that I will do a video. I'm going to shoot a video tomorrow that I'll have posted for next Saturday, which I believe is October the 11th, if I'm correct on that. So there will be a video for October 11th. Tune into that. It's going to be more of a motivational video and a video on how to optimize. So I think it's worth watching, especially if you're new or newer to investing. Going to give you some pointers, some things to think about. So tune into that. Otherwise, I think I should end this video here so I don't ramble on. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sticking with me. And I hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope your portfolios are doing well. Until next time, keep snacking. Take care.